میری مرکات بنا دینا، میرا لاشا اٹھا دینا، میری مرکات بنا دینا. صلوات.
Jazakallah. Next, for Soza Salam, I'd like to request Brother Faris. Bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad Salawat.
پر محمد وال محمد صلوات. غریب زہرا کی غربت سنو، اے اہل عزا. غریب زہرا کی غربت سنو، اے اہل عزا. اکیلا رہ گیا مقتل میں جب میرا مولا، ہاں سپاہ شام نے چاروں طرف سے گھیر لیا. لب فرات تھا ہر ایک خون کا پیاسا، تھا گل چراغ امامت ابھی وہ جانا ہے. ہر زمیں پہ زین سے شبیر کو گرانا ہے. یہ سن کے سنگ کسی نے جبین پر مارا، کسی نے پہلو میں برچی کا پھل اتار دیا. ارے کسی نے سامنے آ کر چلائی تیغ جفا. غریب زہرا کا زی پر سنبھلنا مشکل تھا. علی و زہرا کو رن میں رلایا جاتا تھا. حسین گرتے نہیں تھے، گرایا جاتا تھا. ہاں لگا جو تیر تو اصغر کو شہ نے یاد کیا. پکارا غازی کو جس وقت سر پہ گرز لگا. ہاں لگی جو برچی تو اکبر کو دی تڑپ کے صدا. تماچا خونی نے مارو بولے یا زہرا. علی کو یاد کیا سر پہ ضرب چلتے ہوئے. حسن کو یاد کیا منہ سے خون گلتے ہوئے. زمیں پہ زین سے حضرت جو منہ کے بل لائے، اے جو تیر سینے میں تھے پشت سے نکل آئے، نکل کے پہلو سے سب برچیوں کے پھل آئے، قرار کس طرح بشہ کو ایک پل لائیں، رقاب پیروں سے ابن علی کی چھوٹ گئی، تمام پسلیاں سبتے نبی کی ٹوٹ گئی، کہا حسین نے اماں ہٹا لے اپنا گلا، مزید آپ ہو زخمی ہو نہیں سکتا، گلے پہ شاہ کے خنجر لعین کا جو چلا، گلے پہ شاہ کے خنجر لعین کا جو چلا، صدا یہ آتی تھی سبحان ربی الاعلیٰ، پہ سر کا خون بہا سیدہ کی گودی میں، ارے سر حسین کٹا فاطمہ کی گودی میں، صلوات۔
Jazakallah. Next for Source of Salam, Brother Jawad will recite. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
پکاری لاش پہ زہرا میرے حسین حسین، پکاری لاش پہ زہرا میرے حسین حسین، کفن بھی تو نے نہ پایا میرے حسین حسین، میں آئی ہوں تیرے رونے کو خود سے بیتاب، میں آئی ہوں تیرے رونے کو خود سے بیتاب، مجھے دوت کے دلاسا میرے حسین حسین، اس لیے تجھے پالتا فاطمہ نے کیا، اس لیے تجھے پالتا فاطمہ نے کیا، پڑے ہے دھوپ میں لاشاں میرے حسین حسین، وسیع ہے شام کی بستی مدینہ ویراں ہے، وسیع ہے شام کی بستی مدینہ ویراں ہے، مزر ہے میرے سونا میرے حسین حسین، پکاری لاش پہ زہرا میرے حسین حسین۔
Thank you, Jawad. Beautiful recitation. Next, I'd like to welcome Brother Nade to recite Sos. Loud salawat.
Bari Digar salawat. مقتل میں گر رہا ہے، مقتل میں گر رہا ہے، سنبھالو حسین کو، یا فاطمہ ردا میں چھپا لو حسین کو، یا فاطمہ ردا میں چھپا لو حسین کو، پیوست ہے غریب کے پہلو میں برچھیاں، تم کو بھی اٹھنے دیتی نہیں ٹوٹی پسلیاں، لے کر علی کا نام، لے کر علی کا نام اٹھا لو حسین کو، یا فاطمہ ردا میں چھپا لو حسین، دیوار و در کے بیچ جو ارمان رہ گئے، رکھی ہوئی تھی دل میں جو محسن کے واسطے، وہ لوریاں بھی آج، وہ لوریاں بھی آج سنا لو حسین کو، یا فاطمہ ردا میں چھپا لو حسین کو، 16 پہر کی پیاس ہے اور ہے لبوں پہ دم، دے کر غریب بیٹے کو عباس کی قسم، پانی اگر ملے تو، پانی اگر ملے تو پلا لو حسین کو، یا فاطمہ ردا میں چھپا لو حسین کو، حیدر تڑپ رہے ہیں پیمبر ہیں بے قرار، تم کیسے سن رہی ہو صدائیں یہ بار بار، ایک شور ہے زمین پر، ایک شور ہے زمین پر، گرا لو حسین کو، یا فاطمہ ردا میں چھپا لو حسین کو، صلوات۔
Thank you, Brother Nader. Beautiful recitation. Next, I'd like to welcome Brother Mustafa. Please come up here and recite source. Loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala.
One more salawat, please. میرے امام شہ تشن کام زندہ باد. میرے امام شہ تشن کام زندہ باد. فرات کہتی ہے تم کو سلام زندہ باد. میرے امام شہ تشن کام زندہ باد. خدا کی راہ میں گھر بار دے دیا تم نے. کیا نبی سے جو وعدہ ادا کیا تم نے. جو پاس رکھتے تھے سب کچھ لٹا دیا تم نے. خدا کا شکر کیا خاک پر ادا تم نے. کہے نہ کیوں یہ زمانہ تمام زندہ باد. میرے امام شہ تشن کام زندہ باد. تم ہی نے نیز پہ قرآن حق سنایا ہے. تم ہی نے لاشائے فرزند بھی اٹھایا ہے. سبھی کو دین خدا کا سبق پڑھایا ہے. جو بات آئی تو سجدے میں سر کٹایا ہے. تمہارے دم سے ہے حق کا نظام زندہ باد. میرے امام شہ تشن کام زندہ باد. یہ کربلا کے نظارے سلام کہتے ہیں. فلک کے چاند ستارے سلام کہتے ہیں. کلام پاک کے پارے سلام کہتے ہیں. تمہیں غلام تمہارے سلام کہتے ہیں. ہر ایک زبان پہ تمہارا ہے نام زندہ باد. میرے امام شہ تشن کام زندہ باد. صلوات.
Thank you, Brother Mustafa. Beautiful recitation. I'd like to welcome up Brother Imran Shah. If he's not here yet, Brother Ali Hasnan, please come up and if he's a member, recite Sos. Baradigar Salawat.
بارے دیگر صلوات.
I'd like to just give everybody a rundown of today's schedule while we're waiting. after the Majlis program, after the Majlis, we're going to have Faka Shikni, and then after that, Shamir Ghariba, starting 8:40 p.m. We'd like everyone to please stay after the program. Baradigar Salvat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
پھر بھی درود پڑھیے گا. لا الہ تو پڑھ لیا, اب لے مزہ تاثیر کا, لا الہ کی تہ کے نیچے خون ہے شبیر کا, لا الہ کے پڑھنے والوں, لا الہ سے پوچھ لو, لا الہ تو بچ گیا, گھر لٹ گیا شبیر کا, لا الہ الا اللہ محمد رسول اللہ کی لا زوال درس گاہ حسین ہے, نہ جس کی کوئی مثال ہے, نہ جس کی کوئی نظیر ہے, وہ بے مثال شہنشاہ حسین ہے. حسین روح کائنات ہے, حسین فخر معجزات ہے, خدا نے جس کو مرحبا ہے نفس مطمئن کہا, وہ کربلا کا مصطفیٰ حسین ہے. حسین لا الہ کی بندگی, حسین انبیاء کی زندگی, لا الہ سے پوچھ لو کہ ساری کائنات میں صرف بنا الہ الہ حسین ہے. تڑپ چکی شبیہ مصطفیٰ, مگر حسین ہی ڈٹا ہوا, تڑپ چکی شبیہ مصطفیٰ, مگر حسین ہی ڈٹا ہوا. پسر ہے نوجوان کی ہے لاش پہ کھڑا رہا, یہ وہ غریب کربلا حسین ہے. اے ہاشمی جوانوں کیا ہوا, کہاں چلے گئے ہو باوفا, اے ہاشمی جوانوں کیا ہوا, کہاں چلے گئے ہو باوفا. صدا یہ فاطمہ کی تھی کہ رن میں کوئی بھی نہیں، اکیلا رہ گیا میرا حسین ہے۔ اپنے خون کا غسل ملا، کفن ہے جس کا خاک کربلا، اپنے خون کا غسل ملا، کفن ہے جس کا خاک کربلا، دفن بہن نہ کر سکی ہے دھوپ میں پڑا رہا، یہ وہ غریب کربلا حسین ہے۔ حرم میں حشر کا سما ہوا، پھوپھی سے جب سکینہ نے کہا مجھے نہ نیند آتی ہے، میں سوؤں کس کے سینے پر، کہاں چلا گیا میرا حسین ہے۔ حسین دین کا شباب ہے، حسین درد کی کتاب ہے، کفن کے بند کھول کر بلایا جس کو ماں نے خود، وہ فاطمہ کا لاڈلا حسین ہے۔ لا الہ الا اللہ محمد رسول اللہ کی لازوال درسگاہ حسین ہے۔ بارے دیگر صلوات۔
Thank you, brother Ali Hasnan. Next, I'd like to welcome Imran Shah. Recite aloud. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala
محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجهم۔ بارے دیگر نعرے صلوات۔ بھائیو دوستو وہ گھڑی آ گئی، لا یومک یومک ابا عبداللہ۔ آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائی حسین، آج بھی زینب کی ہے بھائی حسین، چلتے ناکے سے خود کو جلتی ریت پر چلتے نہ کیسے گرایا خود کو جلتی ریت پر گھٹنیوں کے بل میں تیری لاش پہ آئی حسین آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر پھر کسی مشکل میں نہ گھبرائی حسین آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خوبرو بھولنے بیٹھی تو کس کس کی نہ یاد آئی حسین آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین دور افتادہ سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نوید ٹھنڈا پانی جب پیا تو تیری یاد آئی حسین آج بھی زینب کی درود پڑھے
Jazakallah. Finally, I'd like to request Brother Asad for Salawat Salam recitation. Bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad Salawat.
Majuri. گونجی بوقت عصر صدا میں حسین ہوں گونجی بوقت عصر صدا میں حسین ہوں کاٹو نہ میرا خشک گلا ہاں کاٹو نہ میرا خشک گلا میں حسین ہوں گونجی بوقت عصر صدا میں حسین ہوں سوکھی ہوئی ہے شمر میرے ہلکے
رگیں سوکھی ہوئی ہے شمر میرے حلقے کی رگیں آہستہ تو چھری کو چلا آہستہ تو چھری کو چلا میں حسین ہوں گونجی بوقت عصر صدا میں حسین ہوں اماں کسی نے پانی کی ایک بوند بھی نہ دی اماں کسی نے پانی کی ایک بوند بھی نہ دی میں بار بار کہتا رہا ہاں میں بار بار کہتا رہا میں حسین ہوں گونجی بوقت عصر صدا میں حسین ہوں زانوں پہ رکھے سر کو کہا ایک ضعیف نے زانوں پہ سر کو رکھ کے کہا ایک ضعیف نے اکبر کہاں ہے جلد بتا اکبر کہاں ہے جلد بتا میں حسین ہوں گونجی بوقت عصر صدا میں حسین ہوں
Jazakallah. With this, I'd like to request Dr. Shabbir Kirmani to recite the Masa'ib of Imam Hussain. Bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat.
إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتاب الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. Today is the day of Ashura. It's a day of commemoration of the Masa'ib and the Musibah of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And that we certainly will do. But on these days, you get people who come from far and wide for the zikr of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And some words aligned with the mission of Sayyid al-Shuhada, and we'll continue with the Masa'ib straight away. Why do we commemorate Karbala? Why do we commemorate Ashura? Why do we commemorate the Ahlul Bayt? Why do we commemorate Imam Hussein? And when it comes to this, one aspect, there's multiple dimensions. One aspect is understanding and asking questions about the history of Islam and understanding the basis. One of the questions that our Muslim brethren and scholars ask, whether Shia or Sunni, the questions that I'm going to ask are from the broader Muslim community. They're not directly from the scholar of the Ahlul Bayt. What happened? What transpired that within 50 years, the messenger of Allah comes and he gives the message of Islam, and within 50 years, his very grandson, who he used to lift in his hands and kiss, who used to kiss on the neck, who used to extend his prayers and prostration for, who he used to say, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn Sayyiday Shabab Ahlil Jannah, who used to say the Hasan and Hussein are the masters of the youth of paradise, who he would say, or the people of paradise. He would say, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn Sayyiday Shabab Ahlil Jannah, and he would say, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn Imaman Qama aw Qada. Hussein are imams, whether standing or sitting. And he would kiss them and he would stop his lectures. Within 50 years, this Hussein was butchered on the plains of Karbala. Not by Christians, not by Jews, not by Hindus, not by Sikhs, but people who called themselves Muslims. As the poet says, Kya tamasha hua Islam ki taqdeer ke saath? Kya tamasha hua Islam ki taqdeer ke saath? Qatl Shabbir hua nare takbir ke saath? What travesty, what spectacle, what drama, what facade was played with the history of Islam. They butchered the grandson of Rasulullah, where the Quran speaks about them. Not me, the Quran does. Does the Quran not say, هَلْ أَتَى عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ حِينٌ مِّنَ الدَّهْرِ لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا? And then eventually, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَعَسِيرًا. That they give, out of their love of Allah, they give their food and they give their drink and they give what they have in the way of Allah. All Muslims agree this was revealed for Ali, Fatima and Hassanain, the family of Rasulullah, that they fasted for 3 days and they gave away whatever they had. The Quran bears witness to this. Or when it's the event of Mubahila, when the Quran narrates and tells us about what happened, and it tells us very clearly and categorically about who are the personalities who are sent. فَمَنْ حَاجَّكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُلْ تَعَالُوا نَدْعُوا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. When a moment of manazar, when a moment of mubahila came between these two entities, the Christians and the Muslims, Allah's messenger took who with him? History writes it was Ali and Fatima and Hassanain along with him. As although with due respect, respect is due to all, but with due respect, all of the Prophet's wives were alive except Bibi Khadija salamullahi alayha. But the ayah said, Nisa'ana, bring your women and we'll bring our women. But only history writes that Fatima Zahra was taken. So one aspect of commemoration is asking this question, which leads one to understand that a line was drawn in the sand by Sayyid al-Shuhada, by Imam Hussein, that said, from this time till the end of times, there's only two camps. There's Husayniyat and Yazidiyat. And it doesn't even necessarily ask if you're Muslim or not. It asks if you're on truth or not, if you're just or not, if you're fair or not. There were many who knew the Quran inside out by heart in the camp of Yazid. But that Quran didn't change them for the better. The Quran is what the Ahlul Bayt loved. The Quran is what Imam Hussein loved. The narrations, Hamid ibn Muslim or Humayd according to some, his story, he was one who was writing the history of Karbala. And he was not from the camp of Imam Hussein. And he says, I heard the night before Karbala, the night before Ashura, I heard it was like bees were buzzing in the camp of Imam Hussein. And when I got nearer, I realized that it was the recitation of the Quran. The last night they dedicated to the Quran. What is this book? So one aspect is establishing Islam and understanding Islam as taught by Hussein, as taught by Ali alayhi salam, as taught by Rasulullah himself, number one. Number two, this commemoration is also, in addition to the musibah and the questions, is also an establishment of the victory of Sayyid al-Shuhada. आंखों में जागता है सदा गम हुसैन का, आंखों में जागता है सदा गम हुसैन का, सीने में सांस लेता है मातम हुसैन का, आंखों में जागता है सदा गम हुसैन का, सीने में सांस लेता है मातम हुसैन का, और मिट्टी में मिल गए हैं इरादे यजीद के, लहरा रहा है आज भी परचम हुसैन का. What Yazid wanted went to the dust. Till this day, every flag that's high, every alam that you see, every flag is a symbol of the victory of Sayyid al-Shuhada. A victory which should never be forgotten, which should never be commemorated. So a second aspect of this commemoration is the victory of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Now, coming to this. If you look at the Abrahamic faiths, you'll find something quite interesting. You'll find that in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, Abraham or Father Abraham, is revered and respected by all. And you'll find that Ibrahim goes through trial and difficulty after difficulty. I'm asking the question, why this specialty and the special concern for the dhikr of Aba Abdullah and the commemoration of Aba Abdullah? Other people went through trials, and the Quran tells us in Surah Baqarah, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُم مُّصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. That most surely you will be tested, guaranteed that you will be tested with khawf, fear, ju', hunger, naqs min al-amwal, loss of wealth, anfus, yourselves, thamarat, your fruits, whatever is valuable to you, your children, your remnants, whatever is there. But give glad tidings to those who are patient. Karbala, these gatherings are the university of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And this university gives us tremendous gifts, tremendous insights. It teaches us about love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it also teaches us about sabr, about patience, about resilience, about wafa, loyalty, about dedication, about the love of an uncle for his niece to get water, about the love of an uncle for his children, for his nephew, Hussein and Qasim, Abbas and Sakina. Bibi Zainab stood there and Yazid tried to say that God did this to you. What did you see? And she gave a line for history. And she said, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I saw nothing but beauty. This is the height of control. Dr. Viktor Frankl wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, that when I was taken, he was a psychiatrist and a psychologist, and he said, when I was taken into concentration camps, I realized that the last freedom that man has is the control of their own mind. Yazid wanted to say to Zainab, God did this to you. She said, no. Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I saw nothing but beauty. And we'd say, Bibi Zainab, what beauty? Oh, sister Imam Hussein, what beauty? That's why Iqbal said, Hadith ishq do babast, Karbala Damishq, Yake Hussein rakam kard, digar Zainab. That there are two gates to the story of divine love of Allah. One was written by Hussein, the other by Zainab. The story of Karbala is not complete without Zainab. And so somebody may say, Zainab, how do you see beauty? And Salamullahi alayha, Zainab would perhaps say, you saw the devastation and the butchering and the killing, but I saw the best of humanity come out. I saw an uncle willing to sacrifice his life for everything. A Abbas who went to the water did not drink from the water just to bring water back to the tents. I saw a son, Ali Akbar, sacrifice everything for Islam and his father and for love. I saw children sacrifice everything. I saw the best of humanity come out that one would never fathom. What do we look at? What do we focus upon? This aspect teaches us something. and also how we deal with these matters. Karbala is an institution that is a miracle. Poet says, Wafa ke samne aakar jafa ne dam toda. Manzar Bhopali. वफा के सामने आकर जफा ने दम तोड़ा, ये करबला है यहां हर बला ने दम तोड़ा, ये करबला है यहां हर बला ने दम तोड़ा. What do we learn from the University of Imam Hussein? ये करबला है यहां हर बला ने दम तोड़ा, और उसी मकाम से है इब्तिदाए सब्र हुसैन. उसी मकाम से है इब्तिदाए सब्र हुसैन, जहां पे सब्र की हर इंतहा ने दम तोड़ा. उसी मकाम से है इब्तिदाए सब्र हुसैन, जहां पे सब्र की हर इंतहा ने दम तोड़ा. The patience of Imam Hussein begins where everyone else's patience ends. Patience is Sayyid al-Shuhada, the victory of patience. But do I deal with my loved ones, my family, my friends with patience? That's a question. You know, we're told the hurma of a believer is greater than the Kaaba. Do I deal with people in that way? My family and then also my community. Further than this, he continues, Yahi hai farq shahadat mein maut mein manzar. ये करबला है यहां हर बला ने दम तोड़ा, और यही है फर्क शहादत में मौत में मंजर. शहीद हुर हुए और हुरमुला ने दम तोड़ा. यही है फर्क शहादत में मौत में मंजर. शहीद हुर हुए और हुरमुला ने दम तोड़ा. और मक्ता सानी जिसमें एक पैगाम है. There's a message in this. ये करबला है यहां हर बला ने दम तोड़ा, और मैं मुफलिसी में भी खुददार था मगर मंजर. मैं मुफलिसी में भी खुददार था मगर मंजर. दरे हुसैन पे मेरी अना ने दम तोड़ा. दरे हुसैन पे मेरी अना ने दम तोड़ा. Even in poverty, I was self-contained and gratified, dignified. But at the house and the door of Hussein, my ego broke. What are you willing to sacrifice? What am I willing to sacrifice for my love of Sayyid al-Shuhada? In our communities and our loved ones, do we look at the big picture of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein, that he sacrificed everything? Do I have that sacrifice and that resilience? Questions to take home. The main take home of the lectures of these nights was understanding and channeling excellence, and understanding that life is a game of priorities. What is important in life, I prioritize. There are people I've met who come from 2 hours drive, maybe more, to come to these majalis, and they have been coming night in and night out. That dedication doesn't go in vain. Allah says for every effort in the Quran that you make, Allah will reward it in some way, some shape, some form. But then there's some who may be closer. Make this a part of your life. Make this something that is important. And don't only be passive. If you feel there's a need, speak up to try to make that fulfilled. Having said that, Ibrahim, Father Ibrahim, in the Jewish faith, the question of the ram and the sacrifice of Ibrahim is something that's very important. But remember, Ibrahim's first test was not the sacrifice of his son. He was given multiple tests. As we're told, he is the only one in Babylon, in ancient Mesopotamia, in Iraq, who's believing in God at a young age. He's a shepherd. And he hears a cry, Subuhun Quddus Rabbul Malaikati wal Ruh. He said, my name, my Lord's name, my Allah's name, in the middle of this barren desert. He went to the sound and he found there was someone reciting it. And he says, please recite it one more time so I can benefit from it. He says, what will you give me? He said, I have these sheep, I'll give you 1/3. He said, just recite it for me. It's the most beautiful recitation to me. He says, Subuhun Quddus. The man says, Subuhun Quddus Rabbul Malaikati wal Ruh. He says, 1/3 for you. He says, please recite it one more time. The man says, what will you give me? He says, I'll give you another third. I'll give you what's remaining, half of what's remaining. He says, Subuhun Quddus Rabbul Malaikati wal Ruh. He says, last time, one time, please. What will you give me? He says, I'll give you whatever's remaining of my sheep. That's all of his property, everything that he has, his capital. He says, it's all yours. Subuhan Quddus Rabbul Malaikati wal Ruh. He gives it all away. Ibrahim is in a state of spiritual ecstasy. He's in another world. The man says, Ibrahim, congratulations to you, you have passed your test. I am an angel from Allah who was sent to see whether you or your property is more valuable, whether Allah is more valuable or the property. He gave it. Another moment came where Ibrahim alayhi salam is tested, where he has to be tested with his own life. As the poet says, Bekhatar kood pada atish namrood mein ishq, aql hai mahve tamasha labebam abhi. That Ibrahim was thrown and catapulted towards the fire of Namrud. And when he's catapulted towards the fire of Namrud, Jibreel comes and he says, do you need assistance? He says, yes, but not from you. And Allah, knowing his Khalil, his friend, says, Ya naru kuni bardan wa salamun ala Ibrahim. O fire, become cool and easy on Ibrahim. But then a third level comes. So first he's tested with his wealth, then he's tested with his own life, but then he's given another test. And that is the test of his child, who he had after many years, after struggle. And Allah says to him, and he sees the dream, and he speaks to his son, as the Quran says. My son, Ibrahim says to Ismail, Inni ara fil manami anni asbuk fandhar madha tara. Fandhur madha tara. He said, my son, I see I'm sacrificing you in a dream. What do you say? And the son, the absolute alignment of father and son. That alignment. He says, Ya abatif'al ma tu'mar, satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. My father, do as you've been commanded. Insha'Allah, you will find me amongst the patient ones. So he was then tested with the son. Allah replaced it with a ram. In Judaism, the Hebrew scholars and philosophers throughout the years, they've asked a question. They've said, God gave the ultimate tests. As Allah gives tests to people, He elevates them. He gave the ultimate test to Ibrahim. He tested with him with his wealth. He tested him with his own life. He tested with him with his child's life, and Allah replaced it. But some philosophers in the history of the Abrahamic faiths have said, there may have been one test that had God given this test to Ibrahim, we don't know what would happen. This would be the ultimate test. And that is, if God tested Ibrahim with his grandson, because that's even more intense. You may give your child, but your child's child? And the Quran answers this, as our ulama and Shia Sunni ulama say this, not my word. You'll find scholars from all perspectives who highlighted this now. Ayah, وَاتَّرَكْنَاهُمْ فِي الْآخِرِينَ Salamun ala Ibrahim, the Quran says. قَدْ صَدَّقْتَ الرُّؤْيَا وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِ الْمُحْسِنِينَ Salamun ala Ibrahim. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتَّرَكْنَاهُمْ فِي الْآخِرِينَ Salam, peace be upon you, Ibrahim, because you passed your test. But we deferred this test to a later time. We delayed this test. The scholars say this test, the ultimate test, according to Jewish scholars, may have been the test that Rasulullah was given of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The test that Muhammad Mustafa was given for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. When he was told during his lifetime about this tragedy and this massacre. It's not for any other reason that you cannot understand Karbala without understanding all the missions of the prophets before. When you look at Imam Hussein's movement, you and I, we are to see the struggle of all the Anbiya, from Adam to Khatam, from Adam to Nuh to Isa to Musa, all the way to Ibrahim, all the way line. All of the efforts of these prophets were saved by the efforts of Hussein on the plains of Karbala. As the poet says, Teeron ka samna hai aur muskura rahe hain. Ali Asghar, Ali Akbar, the children of Imam Hussein, and the message of Karbala, and the message of Islam, and the message of faith, Abrahamic faiths. There's one religion of God coming from Adam to Khatam. तीरों का सामना है और मुस्कुरा रहे हैं, किस खानदान से हैं असगर बता रहे हैं, किस खानदान से हैं असगर बता रहे हैं और काबा बना रहे थे बेटा लिए इब्राहिम, काबा बना रहे थे बेटा लिए इब्राहिम, बाबा के साथ असगर काबा बचा रहे हैं, बाबा के साथ असगर काबा बचा रहे हैं. That Kaaba which Ibrahim erected with his son is the same one that is being protected by Hussein and his son. And so when we look at this, this is a crystallization of that. What makes Imam Hussein alayhi salam's tragedy, that Allah says you will be tested with hunger and fear and all of these things. And prophets were tested, and you and I are tested. But perhaps the prophets, when they were tested in different phases of their life, they were given tests. Ibrahim is tested with his wealth at one time. Ibrahim is tested with his life at another time. He's tested with his child at another time. Similarly, other prophets are tested with different things. Yusuf is tested with betrayment, being betrayed at one time. He's tested with being thrown into a well. He's being tested at another time in prison. At another time, he's tested with Zulaykha. At another time, he's tested with different aspects of his life. But perhaps nobody in history was tested with their capital, with their life, with their children's lives, and hunger and thirst, all at once, like Sayyid al-Shuhada. In one moment on the plains of Karbala in 61st Hijrah. Who is this Hussein who has the heart to withstand all calamities at once? And as they're falling, he's in a state of tranquility before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The philosopher Nassim Nicholas, and we're at Masaib here, remember this. Nassim Nicholas Taleb, he says, I looked at the English language. He speaks French and Arabic and other languages. And he said, I looked at the English language and I wanted to know what is the opposite of fragile. Something that is fragile. You know, when you move something and you transport something or you ship something and mail something, you write fragile on it so that people take care of it and they don't use it haphazardly so it doesn't break. He said, I wanted to know what is the opposite of fragile in the English language. He said, people told me that the opposite of fragile is, for example, robust, durable, these likes. But he said, that's not the opposite of fragile. That is, if something is fragile, you apply pressure, it breaks. Something that is durable, something that is able to withstand, something that is robust, means you apply pressure and it's able to withstand the pressure. That's not the opposite. The opposite of what is fragile would be something that he said is there's not a word for it, but it would be something that you apply pressure and it's not that it withstands the pressure, it gets stronger. He said there, then he coined the term, which is the name of one of his books, which is called anti-fragile, anti-fragility. He said that something that you apply pressure and it gets stronger. I'm here to tell you the love of Sayyid al-Shuhada, the love of Abu Abdullah is anti-fragile. The more pressure you apply, the stronger it gets. The more you try to extinguish it, the more powerful it gets. The more you try to get rid of it, the more. That's a miracle in and of itself. That's the part of aql and ishq, the ishq that brings us coming back year after year, time after time. As the poet says, Bujhaya ik diya shehne 72 ho gaye roshan. Bujhaya ik diya shehne 72 ho gaye roshan. Andhera khud pareshan hai, bujha kya tha, jala kya hai. That he extinguished one candle in the middle of a barren night. And 72 emerged, who were timeless and immortal. And the darkness is still wondering, where did the darkness go? They're lit till today. Having said that, never lose this love of Hussein ibn Ali, Imam Hussein. Pass it on to your next generations. The love of Imam Ali, the love of Imam Hussein is the most valuable thing that you can have in your life. It will come handy in the most difficult situations. Nonetheless, I'm leaving everything. Tonight and today is a time to remember Sayyid al-Shuhada. وَتَرَكْنَاهُمْ فِي الْآخِرِينَ, the Quran says. Abu Abdullah on the plains of Karbala, he stands there. And when he stands there on the plains of Karbala, he has just gotten up from burying his 6-month-old child, Aliyun al-Asghar, in the back of the tent. And when he gets up, He knows it's the final time. He goes onto the plains of Karbala and he calls out for a final time, Ala hal min nasir yansurna, hal min mughithin yughithuna, hal min dhabbin yudhubbu an harami Rasulillah. Is there anyone to come to our aid? Is there anyone to come to our assistance? The Imam goes back into the tents to bid his final salams. He has a conversation with Bibi Zainab. He says, Zainab, and he says to Fidda, he says, Fidda, perhaps you can get that one case for me. You can get that one trunk for me in which there may be some belongings, but perhaps try to make sure that my sister Zainab doesn't see you. At that point, she brings it. The Imam opens it and he sees some cloths. He takes the cloths and he begins to cut it in place after place, and he begins to rip it from place after place. After that, at that junction, they say Zainab saw the scene. When Zainab, the sister of Imam Hussein, saw the scene, she said, my brother, what is the meaning of this? And why is it that you take this cloth and you cut it in place and place and place after place? He says, my dear sister Zainab, these people before Islam, my grandfather Rasulullah came, he told them not to do these things. But before Islam, whenever they would kill someone, they would loot the body. I am cutting this kafan so that when they see it, they don't take the kafan and perhaps they leave it on the body. Allah, I ask the world, and I ask the Muslim world, and I ask the global world, this Hussein, his father, when he killed and he finished the likes of Marhaba and Antar and these individuals, his own sister says that I would cry for you till the end of times, but I will not cry for you, because whoever killed you was a Kareem. That Kareem was Ali ibn Abi Talib. She said this when she came to the body of her brother and saw that his armor was still on his body, because they used to loot the armor. She said, who is this who killed my brother, the one who used to wrestle with lions, but he left his armor on his body and he left his dignity there? They said this was none other than Ali ibn Abi Talib. What did the Ummah do with the grandson of Rasulullah and the son of Ali al-Murtada? At that point, Imam Hussein is about to depart. I'm leaving everything. He says, Farwa, he says, Farwa, Layla, Rabab, Zainab, alaykum minni, akhir salam, on you, O Zainab, O Ruqayya, O women of the household of Rasulullah, I bid you my final salams. They say whenever Imam Hussein was about to depart and leave from the tents, at that junction, it seems as if Imam was leaving and someone would pull the Imam back. Someone would say, don't leave us, don't go, stay with us. You are the resemblance of Rasulullah. You are the remnant of Rasulullah. You are the one who is the most dear. You are the one who is the remaining. Don't go. Eventually, Imam Hussein was able to depart from the tents. And when he was able to depart from the tents, from the vital time, eventually he sees before him a horse by the name of Zuljana, the faithful steed, the faithful horse. And he looks out who is there to assist him onto his horse. Imam Hussein assisted and he helped all of the shuhada get onto their horse. It's as if Imam Hussein looked towards the plains of Karbala. He looked towards the Al-Qama. He looked at the Khayyam Husseini and the martyrs, and he said, Habib, Muslim, Ibn Awsaja, Zuhair, I helped you onto your horse. Where are you to help me? It's as if the bodies and the souls would have said, because the martyrs are alive, they perhaps would say, our master, death has departed us from you, but we would give our lives 1,000 times over. At that point, Imam al-Hussein, he gets onto Zuljana. May Allah never show anyone this day. Imam Hussein gets onto Zuljana and he wants to proceed to the battlefield for the final time. But what does Imam Hussein notice? He notices that Zuljana is not moving forward. It's as if Imam Hussein says, Zuljana, Zuljana, since the morning you are tired and I am tired. Since the morning you are hungry and I am hungry. Since the morning you have been carrying bodies and I have been carrying bodies. And since the morning, Zuljana, you are thirsty and I am thirsty. This is the final time. I won't trouble you after this. just get me to the maqtal, just get me to the battleground, just get me to my final destiny. It's as if Zuljana looks towards his hooves, he looks towards his feet, he looks down, and then as if when he does this, Imam Hussein looks down towards the hooves of the horse Zuljana. What does he see? He sees a 4-year-old daughter. May Allah never show any father this day. She is holding on to the hooves of the horse, and she's saying, "Oh Zuljana, don't take my father to the battlefield." Why? Because whoever has gone since the morning, they haven't come back. Zuljana, please don't take my Baba to the Maqtal. Imam Hussein saw the scene. He descended one final time from Zuljana. He says, and he takes his daughter Sakina, that same Sakina who we have narrations that Imam Hussein prayed for this daughter in his Salatul Layl. He prayed that may Allah give me a daughter that gives me tranquility, that gives me taskeen, that gives me serenity. He took Sakina, he hugged Sakina, and they hugged each other for a long time. At that point, Imam Hussein says, "Sakina, what is the meaning of this? Why are you stopping the horse? Why do you not let me go?" She says, "Baba, whoever's gone, they haven't come back. Baba, stay with me. Stay with me here. Don't go." At that point, Imam al-Hussein, he wishes to say to his daughter, some way to go. And then he says, "My daughter Sakina, you're thirsty since the day and the night. Perhaps I can go and get you some water." The Sakina says, Baba, my uncle Abbas said the same thing. He never came back from the Alqama. He never came back from the Furat. Baba, I don't want water. I just want you to stay here." Imam al-Hussein is in a situation where he's speaking with his daughter for the final time. Sakina and Imam Hussein speak to each other. The poet Mir Anis captures this moment of dialogue between father and daughter, between a daughter and father, how they spoke to each other. What is it that Sakina may have said? That when the night falls, "Neend aayegi jab aapki boo paungi baba, neend aayegi jab aapki boo paungi baba, main raat ko maqtal mein chali aaungi baba, मैं रात को मक्तल में चली आऊंगी बाबा." इमाम कहने लगे, "निकलती नहीं रात को सैदानियां बाहर, सीने पे सुलाएगी तुझे रात को मादर." वो लगी कहने, "सोएंगे कहां फिर अली असगर, बस जिद न करो सदके में तुम पर, शब होएगी और हम दश्त में होएंगे बीबी, शब होएगी और हम दश्त में होएंगे बीबी, असगर मेरे साथ आज वही सोएंगे बीबी, शब होएगी और हम दश्त में होएंगे बीबी, असगर मेरे साथ आज वहीं सोएंगे बीबी." I will go in the maqtal. Ali Asghar will sleep with me. You sleep with your mother tonight. Ajrukum ala Allah. Imam Hussein, somehow he was able to tell his daughter this. And then Sakina said, "Baba, okay, if you're going to go, just let me sleep on your chest one final time." Imam Hussein lays on the plains of Karbala. Bibi Sakina, a 4-year-old innocent child, she sleeps on her father's chest for the final time. At that moment, she gets up. She says, "Baba, I won't stop you anymore. Go towards the maqtal. Go towards the battlefield." He says, "Why? Just a moment ago you were stopping me. Why now?" She says, "I saw my grandfather, Fatima al-Zahra. I saw my grandmother. She told me the situation. Baba, go. I won't stop you." At that point, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he goes towards the battlefield and he tells the opposition and he tells the enemy who he is. Although there is no introduction needed, it was part of the Rajas and the announcement. He says that Ana Hussein ibn Ali, and he says, "I am Hussein ibn Ali." The whole world knew, but he was giving a statement for history. Imam Hussein began to fight, and when he began to fight, he fought like a lion. The narrations say he would strike the enemy, he would say, you killed my Akbar, this is for you. You killed my Abbas, this is for you. You killed my nephew Qasim, this is for you. He would strike after strike. The enemy could not contain Hussein ibn Ali, who had the blood of Ali al-Murtaza in his veins, who had the blood of Rasulullah in his veins. He fought courageously until the cry was heard that at that junction, they say the angel, and there was a wahi, some form of communication to Hussein ibn Ali that said, oh Hussein, now is the time that Allah wills that you give what you have promised. At that junction, Imam Hussein understood that he was there for a greater purpose, a greater mission. He was not there to fight. He had said the whole time in Karbala, we are not here to fight. At that junction, there comes a moment where when Imam Hussein receives this news and the cry of the Quran is heard, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna, ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. As the Quran says, O soul that is at rest, return to your Lord in a state of tranquility where you are satisfied with Him and He is satisfied with you. أجركم على الله. It was Imam Hussein at this junction, he understood and he sheathed his sword. He put his sword away, and when the enemy saw that Hussein put his sword away, at that moment, the narrations say, it was as if Qiyamah came on earth. Whoever had a sword, took a sword and threw it towards Abu Abdullah. Whoever had a spear, threw it towards Hussein. Whoever had whatever they had, they threw it towards the son of Fatima al-Zahra. Up until the point that whoever had nothing, they took a stone and they threw it towards Imam Hussein. Ajrukum ala Allah. They threw it towards the son of Fatima al-Zahra. Narrations say that an enemy came and he struck a spear into the right rib of Abu Abdullah. On the other side, another came and struck a spear into the left rib. They began to sway Imam Hussein on the horse. When he was swaying at that junction, they dismayed Imam Hussein descend towards the ground. When he descended towards the ground, the enemy and the opposition is looking at Imam al-Hussein. Ajrukum ala Allah. May Allah reward you, and may Allah not give you any sorrow in your life except for the sorrow of Karbala, except for the sorrow of Imam Hussein. At that junction, they wanted to come towards Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and then the cry was given and the call was given, who will separate the head of Hussein? Who will behead Hussein? No one was stepping forward until a moment came where there was one la'een, one shaqi by the name of Shumar bin Dhil Jawshan, who came forward and said, I will do this. This person comes forward, and when he comes forward, he says, I will do this. Everyone else step back. He steps forward. He steps onto the chest of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He grabs the hair of Abu Abdullah. He pulls on the hair and he tugs the hair that Rasulullah used to run his hands through. He pulled Abu Abdullah's head. There was a sister looking at the distance. He pulled and he took his dagger, he took his sword, and he began to strike the neck which Rasulullah used to kiss. 13 times he struck the neck which Rasulullah used to kiss. There was a sister looking only a few steps away. The distance, she was standing on Tilai Zainabiyah. She was calling out, O son of Umar ibn Sa'ad, O Bisr Sa'ad, O son of Sa'ad, my brother is being slaughtered and you're standing there watching. Ajrukum ala Allah. The narrations say the skies changed colors. Muslims have written this in their books. On the 61st and the 10th day of Ashura, 61 AH, the red and the black was seen in the skies. And when this happened, the cry was heard. heard. قد قتل الحسين بكربلاء على قد ذبح الحسين بكربلاء إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. أجركم على Allah. I'm finishing. When Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam gave his final sacrifice, the narrations say that the news had to reach back towards the tents. Zuljana brushed himself with the blood of Imam al-Hussein, and when he brushed himself with the blood of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, at that junction he returned back to give the message. At that moment when he came back straight away to the women of the children of the tents. He came to a 4-year-old Masoom Sakina, the same one who was the last one to see Imam Hussein. She knew, she got the message, and she said a line, and she asked a question that may Allah never have any daughter ask. At that moment, Sakina saw the blood. She said, oh Zuljana, I understood. Zuljana, I got the message. Zuljana, I know that my Baba is no more. The blood is telling me this is the situation. But she asked a question, and that question still haunts the hearts. She said, Zuljana, Baba left, I know, but I just have one question. That question is, Hal suqiya abi am qutila atshana? Oh Zuljana, kya mere Baba ko pani mila ya wo pyasa ziba kar diya?
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein,
हुसैन एक नहीं होंदे कतल रसूल खुदा हुसैन एक नहीं होगे 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 कतल रसूल खुदा हुसैनो मिन्नी वाना मिनल हुसैन गवा हुसैन एक नहीं होगे कतल रसूल खुदा हुसैन एक नहीं होगे कतल रसूल खुदा हुसैनो मिन्नी वाना मिनल हुसैन गवा हुसैन एक नहीं होंदे कतल रसूल खुदा हुसैन एक नहीं होंदे कतल रसूल खुदा मेरा नवासा जे बैयत یزید کر لیندا نہ رہندا کلمہ نہ کوئی خدا دا نام لیندا میرا حسین نہ مارو نبی دیا صدا حسین ایک نہیں ہوندے قتل رسول خدا حسین عشق نہیں ہوندے قتل رسول خدا آل محمد صلوات. There's a jalus outside, so everyone should head outside, okay?